Hello and welcome to this Game Pit Stop for the Expanse the board game, designed by Geoff Engelstein, published by WizKids and from Alcon Entertainment. In the Expanse the board game, each of the players is going to control one of the factions in a solar system that has been populated according to the story of the books and also the TV series. On each player's turn, they're going to look at this lineup of action cards down here, which will constantly rotate, and they're going to choose one of 4 different options available to them. Each of the cards have got action points in the top right hand corner. They can choose to use those action points, and in doing so what they're going to do is build fleets of ships in their home systems different for each of the factions. They're going to move those fleets of ships around, and they're going to place influence onto bases in areas where they've got fleets present. Now if you do choose to use a card for its action points, you'll notice there's also events here on these cards, and they are eligible to certain factions within the game. And if you've chosen to use the action points, you must go through the factions who are able to use this in initiative order. For example, Bobby Draper here will go first of all to United Nations because they're first up, and if they choose to take the event, they'll simply slide down to the bottom of the initiative track and we'll carry on with the game from there. The second option you can do, rather than using the action points, is to just use the event for yourself. Again, you have to be eligible to do it, and you just play it, activate the event, and again it's going to be similar in terms of building fleets, placing influence, removing influence, or doing something on the board to help you out gain control of these bases. The third option you have is to again to choose an event that is eligible for you, but to take it and not play it yet and keep it face down for a later on. If you choose to do that though, that is going to cost you 1 of the command points here, control points, and that is your score, which is going to win you the game at the end. The fourth option on the turn is to play an event that you've held back for later on at a more opportune moment, and that will take up your entire go, and you simply flip it over and say, right, now I am playing this event. This deck, as I said, is going to cycle through. You get lots of thematic things you'll recognise from the story if you know some of the banks, like the Nauvoo, Prax, the Voices of Eros, but eventually scoring cards are going to start to come out. A scoring card will join the lineup. When a player chooses a scoring card, they activate a scoring round, and that's their entire turn. First thing they're going to do is they're going to go through this small deck of bonus sector scoring. Now there are 3 sectors, the outer planets, the belt, and the inner planets, and there's 2 tokens for each. And they're going to choose one of those to be the bonus scoring for this round. Then starting with the player on their left, all the players get the chance to play one of those face down cards they may have kept from earlier on if they've got any. And then the player whose turn it is who chose the scoring card gets to do so. Also, the Ronan is in the game. Now it goes to the player who's last in turn order for the first round, and after each of the scoring it goes to the player who's got the least points. And they've got access to 4 special actions, and they can use one of those rather than playing a face down card. And that's going to let them, for example, use the James Holden power to put influence in anywhere on the board using his fame, or they might use Amos and be a bit more violent and take some fleets out from wherever they are present. Once everyone's done that, we're going to go through and score every base in the game. Now, for normal scoring, it's as simple as who's got the most influence in a base. For example, up here at Eurasia, the United Nations are going to score 1 point for being the most there. However, in that bonus sector, wherever that may be, we are going to score slightly differently depending upon how far we are into the scoring. In this case, for the second scoring, whoever's first is going to score 3 points, and whoever's second is going to score a point. And as we go down into the last scoring, third place is also going to score points for being on here. Now, there's Orbital Control. Whoever's got most fleets in an area is also going to get 1 extra bonus, but only where they are. So in this case, the OPA got control of the Rocinante, and they've got 1 fleet up here, but actually gives them power, which gives them an extra 1 influence here on Titan. Despite it being a tie, the OPA will actually have won because of their fleet control. For the scoring, as well as the scoring listed here for normal and bonus scoring, each of the different factions have got certain types of resources that they're after. For example, the OPA are after water and food, and they will score an extra point if they're in the lead. Here you go, Titan, that's going to score them 1 extra point, but only if you're winning. If you're second or third, you don't get any bonus points for that. That's not the only differences between the factions. They all start with their own particular power. For example, for the United Nations, usually only the first card is free to take. If you wish to take cards further down the row, you're going to have to pay some command points for that. But for the United Nations, the first 2 are free to take, as noted here. For Protogen, rather than having to pay 1 control point in order to keep a card face down, they actually get to do that for free. For MCR, they get these very powerful battleships to help them in the orbital battles. And for the OPA, they can always put influence into the outer planets. They don't have to have fleets there as you usually would in the other areas. As we go through scoring, those powers are going to increase as each of the factions gets access to more technology. For example, United Nations gains access to their diplomats, which are like super influence cubes and are worth 2 wherever they're put on the board. All the factions go into open warfare after the second scoring, and they can attack each other's fleets. And the United Nations after the third scoring get hegemony, and they win all ties in terms of influence. Or Protogen after the third scoring, they get access to the proton molecule, and they can put that in play and wipe out almost everything on a base to leave themselves with sole control. MCR start to get dominance in these fleet combats here, and the OPA start to be able to foment rebellion and remove influence both in the outer planets and in the belt. So you can see that they follow a sort of a story and a progress of this proto-war that's gathering between all these factions. Now, when the very last scoring card is revealed from the deck, and there's 6 of them, the game stops there for actions. We get a once more around the table to be able to play one face down card or your Rocinante action. And then we're going to do final scoring, and this is going to be a 5-3-1 for every single base in the game. We then check and see who scored the most command points, and the winner will be declared off the Expanse board game. This has been a Game Pit Stop. For more videos of this, check out our YouTube channel, and for more in-depth coverage of gaming, please find the Game Pit podcast.